Hey, folks, this clip is brought to you by Rattle and Snap Tennessee Whiskey from Lockstill Distillery. Make your own luck, just like Tennessee football's fast paced Rattle and Snap offense with Rattle and Snap Tennessee Whiskey. Nick Saban, we all hate him. He's the worst. And he just continues to be, like more bitter and annoying. And it kind of feels like he feels the walls closing in a little bit. You know, Georgia took his spot. Tennessee beat him. LSU looks like they got a pretty good coach. I think he can feel the squeeze, and now he's just lashing out. What did he have to say, Zach? If you have it in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, it's been 6 months since the end of the college football season, or since December, I guess, into the regular season, and he's still complaining about Alabama not getting into the college football playoff, which is hilarious because, I don't know, coaches complaining about stuff that's already happened that you can't change. That kind of goes against the whole spirit of how you coach. I mean, you're supposed to have a short memory, move forward, control what you can control, and we'll play wherever we're supposed to play. And over the last, really since the last season, Saban has really turned into, I mean, he's always been a curmudgeon, right? But he's kind of going over the top with complaining constantly. We saw it last year when he did his little TV tour. Anybody that would have him on television making his pitch for Alabama to be in the playoff, like he couldn't stand the thought of being left out and Georgia being in it. And then he was complaining earlier this year about, up tempo offenses and slowing them down and if they're safe or not. Obviously, kind of directed at Tennessee a little bit there after, right after Tennessee beats them, then complaining about the conference schedule. So the fact that he's back complaining about not getting in the playoff, it just feels like he's got to be on TV or interviews, complaining about something. And you don't see anybody else really doing this right now. It's very odd. You don't see Josh Heupel in front of cameras. You don't see really Kirby Smart out there, though. In Kirby Smart's case, it's probably best to lay low right now with all the legal issues happening at Georgia. They've got local media looking into it down there now, which usually doesn't end up well for a program. But it's an odd look for Saban, and I think it's kind of what you said. Like I'm not going to say that he's in panic mode and it's over and he thinks it's over, but I do think he sees Georgia, taking off, leaving Alabama behind. He sees LSU, some people picking them to win the SEC West this year after the way they kind of put it together and beat Alabama last year under Brian Kelly, a coach that's, like him or not, he usually has a pretty good team on the field that has a chance to do something in the postseason, and that's going to be a threat to Alabama. And then, of course, Tennessee, beating Alabama for the first time since Nick Saban has been the coach at Alabama. He's never been the Alabama head coach when Tennessee was a threat. That's been the one kind of sleeping giant that he hasn't had to worry about ever. And now all of a sudden he does. And I'm not saying Tennessee's the catalyst for all this complaining that he's been doing, but it kind of all does go back to Tennessee. They're the reason he wasn't in the playoff. Tennessee was the team he cited for the 9-game SEC schedule that, okay, we got to play Auburn and Tennessee. Well, Tennessee's usually not good. Now they are. It's kind of all this stuff kind of goes back to Tennessee a little bit.
It definitely felt like last year he lost the national championship to Georgia. And you go, okay, lost, but they were in the national championship. I mean, come on. They won the SEC.
And they lost their best player in the championship game. He had a built-in excuse.
Exactly. So, I mean, you looked at that and you were like, yeah, they're still in the national championship. They still in the SEC, yada, yada, yada. But this year, losing to Tennessee and LSU, I think it broke the dam open. Because, and obviously, specifically losing to Tennessee, because it was just so historic. It had just been so long and just was such a relief off of Tennessee.
And that scene, every time that was played, it was Alabama there walking off the field as losers. Everybody saw that over and over and over.
And I think I said this during the season. That week when Tennessee beat Alabama was a changing of the guard. And it wasn't even Tennessee taking over Alabama's spot or something like that. It was really Georgia taking over. Like it was, suddenly Alabama's not
to be beat.
Alabama's not the powerhouse anymore. And that's what ended. And I mean, Billy Jones says it here. He knows his reign is over. Exactly. That's exactly. I would read the rest of it, but this is a family show.
And you'll probably accidentally read it the wrong way.
Exactly. But it really is that. It just feels that way. And in his exact comments where he said about the college football playoff, all we do is take teams that win the most games at the end of the year and put them in the playoffs. But do we really get the best teams? When they told me that we would be favored against 3 out of the 4 teams that got into the playoff, I'm like, why aren't we in the playoffs? Few things go better with a Tennessee sports victory than an awesome whiskey. And actually, me and Jonathan Crompton had a drink of whiskey during the postgame show of every football win this past season. And more specifically, we had Rattle and Snap Tennessee Select Straight Whiskey. You can see it right there behind me. Log Still Distillery has released a new Tennessee whiskey product line called Rattle and Snap Tennessee Whiskey, named after a long-forgotten game of chance. Rattle and Snap is a whiskey for those who make their own luck. There's a 4-year and an 8-year version of Rattle and Snap whiskey. And actually, this one behind me is the 4-year version right here. It's perfect for making your favorite whiskey cocktails or just drinking neat. It's really great stuff. And I mean, you can see it there. The bottle looks great too. You can find Rattle and Snap right now in stores across Tennessee. And Rattle and Snap is also available in Kentucky, Indiana, and Mississippi. So run, don't walk to get yourself some Rattle and Snap whiskey. And follow Rattle and Snap on Instagram at Rattle and Snap Whiskey. That is Rattle and Snap Tennessee Select Straight Whiskey. Because you lost to Tennessee and LSU. I don't know. Beat the teams that you were favored against. They were favored in both of those games. They were favored against Tennessee by almost double digits. I'm sorry. What happened? Beat them.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see Tennessee fans or Josh Heupel complaining about not making the playoff because they lost. I mean, if they beat South Carolina, it's a different conversation, of course. But you lost to South Carolina, that ended it, and Tennessee fans accept that for the most part. Josh Heupel's, I think, everybody in his coaching staff accepted because honestly, and I know this is debatable, and you don't want to get into this debate with somebody that is on the other side because nobody's ever going to agree, but you feel like Tennessee would have deserved it over Alabama just by virtue of beating Alabama and then beating LSU. I mean, in a way, yeah, that loss to South Carolina was bad, but it's still a conference loss on the road. It wasn't like they lost to, South Alabama or something like that, or some random, or Georgia State, a couple of years ago. It wasn't like that. So, those games do happen from time to time, but they had better wins than Alabama, and I think the better wins carry more weight than the worst losses. And that would be my opinion. But the part that doesn't make sense is I don't know what Saban is politicking for here. With the schedule, I kind of always understood it. But this year's the last year of the 4-team playoff. Who knows what happens this year, especially with Alabama, new quarterback. I don't really know what to expect from them, to be honest. They could go undefeated in typical Alabama fashion, or they could finally, not win 10 games. I mean, it really could go either way at this stage of Saban's career. And he just lost probably the best quarterback he's ever had at Alabama and didn't make the playoffs. So what's going to happen in 2023? I don't know. But this argument doesn't really make sense with them moving to the 12-team playoff in 2024.
Well, I hope what it means is that Tennessee will beat Alabama again. That's all I know. And then this time,
Tuscaloosa.
Well, it is a bit of a different task in that way, but
maybe Tennessee fans will storm that field too.
Well, maybe, or maybe you could flip it. Even if you drop that game, beat South Carolina and beat Georgia this year. Just flip your 2 losses.
Yeah.
Hey, fine. That's all I ask, is to just have a nearly perfect season. Is that big of an ask?
We haven't actually asked for that in a while, so maybe not.
Hey, it's not like I'm asking you every single year to do that. Okay.